It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
All right. ¿Qué ondas, vatos locos? You know what time it is. That time where we get together, friends from all over the country, people that love the sweet science. It's time for the Shoe Shine. It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas. And joining me as always is my homeboy from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. Drew, ¿qué pasa, man?
Great introduction. We gotta have we gotta get I gotta pay somebody to give me the best introduction, like Michael Buffer or something.
Oh man, hey, I'm so excited. I got some great people here in the chat. I want to say hello to JC, of course. HLD's in the room. JC already saying, cry, Eagles, cry. And it was NFL draft weekend. And I think the Eagles made some big moves, but I was trying to make some big moves too. Dan 619 all the way from San Diego. Homeboy, what is up? Thank you for joining us. Everybody who's here, of course, it was a huge weekend for boxing, NFL draft, and I was in Las Vegas, and I'm still trying to recuperate because my dumbass took the 5:30 a.m. flight home, which means I was up, I don't know, at 3 a.m., but I went to bed Friday at 3 a.m. What, Friday? Shit, I went to bed like at 6, 7 in the morning Saturday, the same thing after the fight, Drew. So I'm glad I took a 2-hour nap, man, because I'm hanging on a dear life here. And back to work, back to the hustle tomorrow. But Drew, the Valdez Stevenson fight at the MGM, disappointed.
Tell me about it. It was a fucking big disappointment.
Oh man, I'm another one of those. Oh, Shaukur Stevenson dominates and makes it look so frustrating. And the pro Valdez crowd in Las Vegas, lots of booing going around for everybody. And of course, I almost didn't even get into it. Let me just tell you, bro, I was telling you, but I didn't tell the chat. But I went to the MGM Grand and I wanted to live stream immediately after. So I brought just like this cheap phone tripod holder. And I actually had one of my Canon cameras that's point and shoot, because I know you cannot bring a removable lens camera. But I'm bringing this plastic tripod so I could live stream. And they told me no. They said, you're not coming in here with that. So do what you want to do. You're either going to dispose of the gimbal or not come in and give up your, these seats I had were really nice. They were about $400, They harassed my wife too over the size of her purse. So at the end of the day, the supervisor said, well, listen, there's a fake tree over there. And if you put it over there and it's there when the fight's over, you can have it. So I said, fuck the hell with that. That shit was about $20 on Amazon. So I left it behind and into the fight we go, Drew. But I'm talking about disappointment because Oscar Valdez tried so hard. He tried so hard and was swinging and missing wildly. And of course, not only on the round table, Drew, but on our show, I said I would not be surprised if Oscar Valdez tasted the canvas again. We know we talked to Adam Blue Nose Lopez here on the Shoe Shine, who dropped him about 2 years ago, caught him making a mistake, and Shaukur Stevenson had enough pop to hurt him. So Drew, right now, the question is, and I'm sorry, guys, I have the wrong thing at the top of the screen here. Shaukur Stevenson dominates Valdez. Is he on Drew Evo's pound for pound list? And I'll let you know if he's on mine. And chat, let me know, is Shaukur Stevenson on your pound for pound list?
I'm going to answer that in a minute, but I want to say something. I predicted this was going to happen because Oscar Valdez can't cut the wing off, period. He doesn't know how to cut the wing off. 2, he's used to fighting backing up. 3, Shaukur Stevenson is a known counterpuncher, is a boxer. He's going to wait for you to throw and counter you. Like, seriously, to be honest, if Oscar Valdez had a chance, it will be cut. He would have to cut the wing off. Like, seriously. Oscar's not used to going forward.
He was pretty aggressive, but
that
like
boy
you said,
made him go forward. That boy made him go forward, and he looked like shit the whole time. I'm sorry. I'm watching pro Valdez channels that love Oscar Valdez, and they tried their hardest. They tried their fucking hardest to fucking make Oscar Valdez look respectful or look even okay in the fight. Oh, they didn't give him credit for his right hand. What the fuck kind of fight were you watching? he got dominated. He got outboxed. He got outboxed the whole fucking night. He couldn't do shit. He couldn't cut the wing off. He got dropped by Shaukur Stevenson. He almost got stopped if you wanted to look at it from an angle. He almost got stopped.
Well, I was there and I didn't, it's so difficult when you're watching it live and you don't have the benefit of watching it on TV and those close replays and whatnot. It didn't appear he was going to get stopped, but it was really obvious to the crowd that he was missing repeatedly. Sometimes you could see it by inches. Chicano Prophet says 10-2 is what I saw. And by the way, boxing 4-pound Jack, I asked the question. Thank you for being in the room. Somebody new in the chat says Shaukur is in his number 10, or is his number 10 for the pound for pound list. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Did he break your pound for pound list by beating two of the top 130-pound champions? First, he disposes of Jamel Herring and makes Jamel Herring look like an old man. And now Oscar Valdez, who was the former champion at 126 pounds, proven featherweight champion of the world.
He dominated.
He dominates both of them. Is that good enough?
I'm going to be honest. He's number 10 on my list. He is. I'll put him as number 10 on my list because here's the thing. He's a unified linear 130-pound champion. He's dominating Jamel Herring and fucking dominate Oscar Valdez. He made Oscar Valdez look like a one-dimensional fighter. He exposed Oscar Valdez, if you want to look at it. Because that last fight that Oscar Valdez had, he didn't win that fucking fight. He damn sure didn't win that fucking fight. And he's the same way as fucking, in that dude he fought, same way as Shaukur Stevenson. But he was an orthodox fighter, and he wasn't as good as Shaukur Stevenson. If he had a problem with that dude, Shaukur Stevenson was dominated. That's what happened. So at the end of the day, I don't care about what these pro Valdez channels trying to give credit to Oscar Valdez, trying to give him credit. Oh, that's a great right hand. I heard somebody say that's a sexy right hand. What the fuck kind of shit are you on?
Well, I don't want to get twisted that the shoe shine is pro anything, but Drew, I did tweet right before the fight because earlier in the day I was talking to Chicano Prophet from the luxury of my room before I went to the fight, and I had seen that the odds. I saw the odds were about 8-1, 800. Paying $800 for a $100 wager. So my mom saw that too, and she asked me to place the bet for him for $100. By the time I made the bet, it had narrowed down to plus 550. So the bet would have paid $650. So I did it for my mom. And you know what? It's Mother's Day. I'm not asking for the money back from my mom. I would have gladly have shared the entire winnings with my mom. But I didn't have Oscar Valdez winning this fight in my prediction either, Drew. And I'm really surprised that he's broken your top 10 list. He is a 2-division champion now. And to me, it's very clear that if he wants to, and if he can maintain the weight, because he almost came in overweight, he can clear out the 130-pound division.
And you want to know something? Ask me how many rounds I gave Oscar Valdez.
Me? Oh, shit. I don't think I gave him a single round. I don't think I gave him a single round.
Ask me how many rounds I gave him.
Drew, how many rounds did you give Oscar Valdez?
I was being nice. I gave him fucking one.
You gave him one round. Hey, a shout out to Knockout by Kenny. Of course, Knockout by Kenny, who's got his own channel, and Maestro, and lots of exciting shit that went down on the other side of the coast on Saturday night. Of course, we're going to get to the Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor fight. And I'll let you guys know right now, I had that shit on DAZN while I was waiting for the main event to start at MGM Grand, and everybody behind me was tuned into my phone watching the Katie Taylor fight versus Amanda Serrano, going, oh shit, it's buffering, but who's winning? Asking me, who's winning? Who do you got winning? Who do you got winning? And Drew's texting me at the same time, giving me his live play-by-play scorecard, and they're like, oh, what'd your friend say? What'd your friend say? What's the score? But it's always great hanging out with fight fans in Las Vegas, because you guys, it's like instant friends. Although there was a couple of scuffles. I ain't gonna lie about that. You guys probably saw that Shaukur Stevenson was involved in a scuffle afterwards. That was posted online. I wasn't there for that. I grabbed my gimbal that I was hoping my gimbal was outside and took off so quick to an after party. So good times. So saludos to D Styles and everybody from HCP. Thank you. That's it. Chicano Prophet says, I've heard a few people say 1 round. I'm not interested enough to rescore it. Valdez was soundly beat one way or the other. And Drew, I didn't see Team Reynoso and Oscar Valdez be able to make the adjustment necessary to even make this fight competitive. And if it wasn't because of lack of direction, it was because he just isn't capable. Does that make Shaukur Stevenson that special? I mean, at this point, I'm starting to feel like Shaukur Stevenson, he is so gifted at controlling the distance that he will make you miss by inches. And the only guy that I clearly can remember that everyone's going to agree upon is Floyd Mayweather. So the comparisons are going to come back. Floyd started at 126 pounds and moved right up. Is Shaukur Stevenson going to have that trajectory? And we won't know until he hits 135 pounds because everybody is there.
I look at it like this. You could tell Oscar Valdez to do anything. He still couldn't do shit to Shaukur Stevenson. Even if he fucking tried, even Shaukur Stevenson on one fucking leg, he still couldn't do shit. I'm sorry. Oscar Valdez really fucked up.
Jeez.
And I'm sorry, he really fucked up. To me, he got exposed completely, man. He peaked. I'm sorry, but there's an upside to Shaukur. He can move up in weight. Oscar Valdez ain't gonna be fucking shit at 135.
No. And actually, Jamel Herring is fighting in just a few weeks. Jamel Herring, who was, in my opinion, beaten even more badly by young Shaukur Stevenson. He'll be fighting at I think May 21st, which is a great weekend. It's my wife's birthday weekend. So shout out to all the Geminis. He's fighting in just a few weeks, making his debut at 135 pounds. Jamel seems to think that that's where his body belongs. And a lot of guys seem to think when things don't work anymore at your weight class. And now you got 2 champions who've lost their titles. Oscar Valdez is clearly way too small, Drew. You could see the size. That size difference was really evident on Saturday night to everybody sitting around me that he's not.
And that's a problem, man. Like, tell you the truth, he's peaked. Like, he's in a division that he's not going to be able to go 135 because he's going to be way undersized.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't have the ability to be able to hide that disadvantage like Lomachenko is able to because he's so much of a great boxer, footwork and everything. Like, his future is going to be probably a rematch with Adam Blue Nose and Lopez, a fight with Andy Vance. Brandon Vera can probably fight him. That's his fucking future.
Speaking of old friends, Andy Vences, who's been on the Shoe Shine, I ran into my homeboy. I want to give a shout out to Francisco Esparza. You guys have seen him. He used to fight for Golden Boy, and he's fought on Top Rank as well. He's fought the night Shaukur Stevenson won his featherweight title. He was on that card. I run into my boy Francisco, who was the trainer for Alma Ibarra. You guys saw Jessica McCaskill this weekend on DAZN as a commentator, I believe. She will be getting her title shot, but unfortunately, my friend will not be lead trainer. She's decided to stay home and train for that fight against Jessica McCaskill in Mexico. She's a mother of a special needs child, so she needs to stay back in Mexico. And, Drew, this is kind of scary for her, but Alma Ibarra is a former victim of a kidnapping by a cartel. So when you're asked to come from the U.S. to be a lead trainer in a state that's very dangerous like that, unfortunately, I think my boy had to make a very difficult decision. So he will be bowing out as head trainer. But hey, good news for him. They're still very close. Alma Ibarra will be getting a title shot against Jessica McCaskill. So shout out to my boy Francisco Esparza. JC, yeah, she will be getting that shot. All right, so Drew, one more thing about that fight card. Keyshawn Davis, we're talking about 135 pounds. He's the silver medalist for the U.S. You and I were on his podcast with him on that Twitch sports show where we were vying for a job as a co-host. The crowd really enjoyed his performance, but this guy from Baja California gave him a lot of freaking work, man. And I really expected Keyshawn Davis. Yes, he got a TKO stoppage, but I expected to see even more dominance by Keyshawn Davis early on, and I didn't. I mean, he's clearly talented, But I'm left scratching my head. You got Keyshawn Davis winning silver. He lost to the Cuban and Andy Cruz. You have Shaukur Stevenson, an Olympic medalist. Of those two, are they going to be on a collision course at Top Rank? But you dropped the real name, I'm thinking, man. Nobody seems to think Shaukur Stevenson is going to get beat. Until what? Until he runs into Lomachenko? Is that a fight Uncle Bob is going to make someday? It seems like they're grooming that fight.
I think the only one that could possibly give him a lot of trouble is Lomachenko, because his footwork is better than Shaukur Stevenson's, and I think Shaukur is going to have to really work harder to get to Lomachenko, and it's going to be like you're fighting, even though you're trying to be the counter puncher. Loma's going to force you to fight a fight you don't want to fight, and that. When a guy forces you to fight a fight you don't want to fight, it's a big disadvantage. So, I can see him beating Devin Haney easily.
Yes.
I can see him beating Ryan Garcia easily.
Okay. Speaking of Devin Haney,
I can probably see him beating Tank. But Loma's is another animal. I don't think Bob would do anything to make that fight with Lomachenko, because if anything, I'm favoring Lomachenko to beat Shaukur Stevenson.
Bro, I want to, you brought up Devin Haney. Devin Haney just signed, he left Eddie Hearn, right? I guess he's going to be co-promoted by Bob to get this fight made in Australia. And let me just say this about Devin Haney. His star is rising. I mean, everywhere he went at the MGM Grand, he was being bombarded with fans asking for pictures. Devin Haney and his father love the freaking limelight. They love to show off. They're the flashiest people in the entire arena. They love the attention. They love the limelight. And it begs the question, man, if Devin Haney wins against Kambosos, you're going to have people calling for Shaukur when he's ready to move up to get an instant shot somewhere. Either someone like Lomachenko, who doesn't have any titles. Loma's still got to win all these titles. If I'm Shaukur Stevenson, I'm definitely going for Devin Haney. I am definitely going for Devin Haney. By the way, Francisco Esparza, who I just mentioned, sparred. He was telling me, we were sitting together for a little bit, and he was telling me he sparred with both Shaukur Stevenson and Devin Haney, and he was singing high praises for Shaukur, man. He's saying Shaukur is a genius in there, just about a genius in there, man. Very difficult to hit, and throw his combinations at ease against people. So he's got that ring IQ everybody is singing praises about. I'm excited for his career going forward, and only time will tell if he is the successor to Floyd Mayweather. We'll see it right now. I also think very highly of Terrence Bud Crawford. But Terrence Bud Crawford hasn't been gifted that title as the successor to Floyd Mayweather, so it remains to be seen.
On the Keyshawn Davis, I'll be honest with you. I was watching the Serena Taylor fight on my iPad. I was watching Lucha Libre Wrestling on the big screen TV. Triple Mania, if anybody knows, that's Triple A's one of the big events for the year, which was in English. And I was watching on my iPhone the Top Rank card.
So you need to get yourself a Lucha Libre mask, man, for CInco De MAyo. I should have sent you one. That would be great. What? Who wants to see Drew Evo in a Mexican luchador outfit?
Not an outfit. I'll wear the mask, but I won't wear the outfit. And I get to pick the mask. I pick the mask I wear.
By the way, guys, the phone line is active. I do pay for this voice over IP. If you guys want to comment, let us know what you thought of Shaukur Stevenson's performance. Did he break your pound-for-pound list? And I talked with Chicano from Al Chile Saturday, and to me, he hasn't broken the top 10 list yet. He's still on the cusp, man. I want to see him clean out the division, and then absolutely, yes. I'm not hating on him. I think I'm singing high praises for the guy. He's almost there. But Oscar Valdez also was the featherweight champ and also did the unthinkable in beating his opponent in Burchelt, right? And nobody said Oscar Valdez was pound for pound list after that. Nobody put him on pound for pound list just because he was the champ at 126 and 130. So to me, it's just a little premature. But will Shaukur Stevenson be on people's pound for pound list? Absolutely. I mean, he's breaking through already. People saying it already, right? So yeah, guys, you want to see Drew in a luchador outfit? I do. I would like to see the color scheme. That would be fucking wild. That would be wild, man. All right, DAZN, Drew. Jesse Vargas started off the DAZN card. Jesse Vargas, former 140-pound champion, former welterweight champion of the world. I can't get it wrong. And also, wasn't beefy Liam Smith also a world champion? You got two former world champions saying, if I lose to the other guy, I might as well call it quits. 33, 34 years old. Both of these guys saying, this is it, man. If I can't beat this other guy, I'm out the business, right? I think Jesse Vargas has gotten a lot of gift decisions. In fact, one of the worst gift decisions he got was against Josecito Lopez, way back before they had names, man. He got a gift decision in Las Vegas against him, and Josecito Lopez looked like shit recently in that pay-per-view, so bad that I think it's also time for him to consider hanging up the gloves. Here's what's interesting about Jesse Vargas is he was training with Nonito Donaire. Apparently, Nonito Donaire and his wife, Rachel, kind of running Jesse Vargas's camp. They're all living in Vegas, but he was gassed, bro. He was gassed. And Liam Smith looked like the younger fighter of the two, man. He kept up for a little while. You know how Mannix is. Those scorecards are. Oh, it's close, until it wasn't, man. So your thoughts on that?
I knew Liam Smith was going to win. I think Jesse Vargas is washed up after all the shit that he took.
By the way, a lot of people on my social media timeline, especially on Twitter, upset. I guess a lot of people didn't really know about his conservative viewpoints, that he was running as a conservative. A lot of Latinos on my timeline giving him shit. But of course, there's people of Latinos fall into every political spectrum on both sides of the aisles. So I don't know if he will continue to box, but I actually think that Liam Smith still has a future going forward at 154 pounds. Maybe put himself back into the talks as an opponent for one of the, we have the unification, the undisputed coming up, but there's a lot of guys out there, a lot of big names at 154 pounds, and he definitely showed that he still got it to get in the mix with any of them and put himself in contention for a title shot or move up the rankings, Drew. For Jesse Vargas, and I know he's friends with one of my boys too, man. I don't know, man. Maybe just focus on that political ambition you have. Just focus on the political ambition, man. All right, guys. Let's move on from Jesse Vargas because it was Women's Fight of the Year. And I got to be honest, after watching that fight today, because I only got to watch it on my phone, and I was distracted. I got to see it today coming home, and it was a really good fight, Drew. But 10 rounds for Women's Championship, 2 minutes apiece, dude. Are they finally going to get 3 minutes, the opportunity to fight? Because really, bro, I know you were rooting for Serrano, and in round 5, had Serrano had that extra minute, I think there was going to be a TKO stoppage on the verge right there.
I gotta disagree because, tell you the truth, we can't assume that the extra minute that she's gonna get the KO. Like Katie Taylor, demonstrated hard in there, and like the same, like even with the extra minute, she could have still stayed up. So we don't know what could happen.
Well, we don't know, but she was hurt, man. She definitely was. Yeah. I didn't have the benefit on the phone seeing it. I think round 5, man, she was on the verge. She was seriously hurt, but her being the warrior that she is, a world champion that she is, and just like everybody's got national pride there, she's fighting for all of Ireland, and she's fighting for all of Puerto Rico, and they're both fighting for women's boxing. It was a hell of a round, and it was a hell of a comeback by Katie Taylor. But I had all the early rounds going to Amanda Serrano, and Katie Taylor coming back strong as hell in the last 4 rounds. Just my opinion, 6-4 for Serrano, with a very close swing round here or there. Could have easily been a draw. Jake Paul, I guess as soon as the fight was over, everybody screaming, draw. And even Katie Taylor, according to Jake Paul today, he told the media outlets that Katie Taylor's people were saying draw too. So how you feeling about that decision?
I thought it was a bullshit decision. I thought she got robbed, Amanda Serena. Like, I had a 7-3 in her favor. And like, here's the thing. When you going around the ring and she's following you, but you're only throwing one punch at a time and she's throwing more than one punch at a time and she's landing with half of them, that's not winning the round. You're losing the round if you're running around the ring, you only throwing one punch, you're not winning a round. She's still landing on you. You're not winning a round. She's winning the round. So at the end of the day, I'm not being biased because I'm Irish and everything. I tell you the truth, I think Katie Taylor's a little overrated in my eyes. I thought she had a draw. I thought the Tasha Jonas fight was a draw.
Yeah.
Who's that one girl that she fought twice?
Okay, I forget her name too, but she's had the benefit of some very close decisions as of late. Some people will argue they're gift decisions. It's funny that JC is saying something. Is he not a true Irish? Well, I can remember people being upset about all the Mexicans that were wearing T-shirts at Canelo Alvarez fights. You know, Mexicans for Gennady Golovkin. That's actually a thing. I don't see Drew wearing a shirt that says Irish for Puerto Rican women, but if you're a Puerto Rican girl and you're interested in Drew Evo, hit him up on his social media. I'm pretty sure you won't turn them away.
I'll be honest with you. I thought Katie Taylor won the 2nd, the 8th, and the 10th.
That's interesting.
And the thing is, they're looking at me like, oh, Serrano. I was like, no, Katie had a better round in the 10th than Serrano did.
Yeah, Katie, she turned it on. If I gave her the second round, it's a draw because I think Katie scored the last 4. If I gave her the second round, absolutely Katie Taylor. This could have easily been in a draw. And what I'm reading today is that.
And I gotta address this comment.
What comment is that?
When you get outlanded in rounds, doesn't mean you won. It doesn't always mean you win rounds. Okay. Like if you want to look at it. You're just looking at the punch count on rounds. You're just looking at the punch count, period. Because you can land the more punches and still lose the freaking fight and everything. So I don't want to hear that, oh, she outlanded her in 5 rounds. Who gives a flying fuck?
Well, you just scored the round. It's just scored on a round by round basis, right? You just win.
You score in your fucking eyes.
You just win that round. Well, it looks like this rematch is guaranteed, all but guaranteed. This is the highest payday that Serrano has ever made in her life. And from what I'm reading, she had no problem with the decision. Like, she wasn't really that upset. So is Amanda Serrano being motivated just by the purse now? Because she's more than happy to fight Katie Taylor. She wasn't that upset. I thought Jake Paul was going to be even more upset. I really thought Jake Paul was going to be more upset that his fighter, in his eyes, that she got robbed. But it seems like at the end of the day, they're comfortable with it, with a rematch and another record high payday.
In the first half of that fight, she was going around and throwing one punch at a time in a couple rounds. Now, as it got later in the fight, that's when she started being smarter in box because she knew she couldn't train with Amanda Serrano. She made that mistake in that fight, and it almost cost her that fight. She almost got knocked out. But at the end of the day, you cannot fucking go by punch counts in a fight. Because I tell these other people that.
Well, if they did, not to interrupt you, Drew, but if it was that way, we would just let CompuBox score the fights for us. We would just let a computational machine just figure out the entire gross punches landed and say, this is the person who won. We wouldn't need to score round by round. That debate, that's a great debate. And we've had it on the round table, and everyone who's part of HCP has got to chime in on that. And I think even then our opinions can change and be fluid about scoring.
And here's the fucked up thing. They bung this shit up in the Manny Pacquiao-Ugas fight. Oh, Manny Pacquiao is more busy, but Ugas landed the better punches, the more accurate punches in that fight and everything. You can argue with that. But you can also argue, but let's say if she flew more punches, say Katie Taylor, she boxed a beautiful cup, she started boxing a lot better and everything in the later rounds. if Sereno nailed the more harder punches, the ones that did the more damage, then people will give it to the harder puncher and everything, the one that's doing damage. Like, people have so many different fucking styles of how they judge fights and everything. Like, they can say, oh, she was the fucking busier fighter. Oh, she was the other hope. There's so many different ways a person judges a fight. And like, when I heard these fucking scorecards, you had Taylor had like the 97, 93, which is a bullshit card. You had another judge that gave a 96, 93 that gave Serena the 5th round was a 10-8, which I don't score 10-8 unless you get a knockdown. If it's a knockdown, it's a 10-8 round. Right. That's how I score it and everything, but still had fucking Katie Taylor winning fucking 7 rounds, I think, against. Like, I don't understand that. They had her actually, probably gave Katie Taylor every fucking swing round they possibly could be.
That's the only conceivable way to come up with that scorecard.
But yeah, at the end of the fucking day, I saw a fight that I scored a 7-3 for Amanda Serrano because Katie Taylor did a couple of things that I thought could have lost to the fight. She started to train Amanda Serrano in the early rounds. She wasn't really trying to. She was trying to box, but she wasn't really trying to throw punches that much.
You know, Drew, it's crazy because in men's fight that are controversial, it's 12 rounds for men's championship fight, and it's 3 minutes. So we're talking about debating 36 minutes versus 20 minutes, and we cannot come to a consensus on what was really the best fight of all of Saturday night. It was extremely competitive. It lived up to the hype in Madison Square Garden. Historic, really historic. And we're going to get to see a rematch. There's going to have to be a rematch. There's too much money on the line here.
I'm going to be honest with you. If that rematch is in Ireland, which I like to see a fight in Ireland, it won't mean shit. It won't mean really that much to me, that rematch, because you're probably going to know the end result and everything. If I was, like, I agree with I was watching Maestro's idea. I was listening to Maestro idea, and I agree 100% with him. Have the fight in Yankee Stadium, since it did so good in Madison Square Garden. Have the fight in Yankee Stadium, or have the fight in L.A. Have it like, why have it in Dublin when you really know why have the fight in Dublin when people really know like shit like this. If it's the fights in Europe or something, you could like not get a straight decision. You never know.
You never know. By the way, JC had mentioned that the promoter Jake Paul and his promoter was eating up all the limelight. Yeah, he really does. He really loves going back and forth with Eddie Hearn. I can't imagine he went from YouTube sensation to pay-per-view boxer to now promoter role, eating it up, and even got on the mic. I heard him commentating. So he's eating up the limelight, even if his fighter lost.
I look at it like this. I don't think we're going to see a rematch. I'm going to tell you why. Tony Bellew was saying Katie Taylor should retire. And if you look at it, Katie Taylor's getting up there in age. And like, it's not really much more left for her to do, but to try to go maybe undisputed, maybe go fight Jessica McCaskill at 147. Mm-hmm. And then you have that who's the fucking the ones at 140.
At 140, put it in the chat, guys, because I'm drawing a blank. Like Chicano says, I don't follow women's boxing that well either.
The one girl she fought, I don't know. She was on a DAZN card not too long ago, and she was in the Blonde Bomber corner.
Okay, we got a call. Maybe they can help us with this one here. I'll take this phone call right now. 503, you're on with this Shoe Shine. What's going on?
What the fuck is that?
What's happening? This is the Chicano Prophet. Hey, while I was telling you, I missed what you guys were talking about just right now. I was calling in, brothers, to just kind of chime in on this whole Taylor Serrano thing.
Please do.
Well, all I could say is watching it live, I didn't score it. I did have money on Serrano, and I thought that it was not a robbery. Like I thought it could have went either way. Like I thought Katie Taylor did some good work early that she wasn't, for some reason, some people aren't giving her credit for. Like, I don't know, man. To me, it looked like she was throwing some bombs. I've always said that a certain amount of power can offset volume. But like I said, I don't care that much about women's boxing, so I'm going to tell it to you straight. You know what I mean? And then also, Drew, as far as what Drew has to say, like I have to say that, yeah, I guess they could have the fight in America again. But for what? Like, what does Katie Taylor owe Serrano? She doesn't really owe her anything. She's the A side, and boxing is an international sport. Like, if she wants to flex, why not flex? Like, why shouldn't she be the real A side right now? I mean, she already fought in America. Why can't they do it the other way now?
I hear you.
I'm going to answer your question. You'll make more money fighting at Yankee Stadium than you will in Dublin, Ireland.
Man, that is hard to imagine. If it's a
business thing, then that makes sense too.
Now, it's just hard to imagine women's boxing filling an entire baseball stadium in the Bronx. Is for me, it's hard to imagine, but more power to them if they could do it. Wow. I mean, it's hard enough to get the guys in the U.S. to fill that many people. MGM Grand holds 15,000 capacity, and it wasn't sold out.
Do you want me to? I'll break it down to you right now, Dave. You have a whole section of Irish Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. It's like I think it's on the north side of the Bronx is an Irish neighborhood. Then you got the south side of the Bronx, which is Puerto Ricans.
Oh,
Boricuas. And
oh, shit.
You see how they all showed up last to that MGM at the Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Why not have it? And you're going to have a lot more people show up to that. That's going to respect it because how good that fight was. I'm just saying, it was a way better fight than Oscar Valdez and Shaukur Stevenson, if you know what I mean. Oscar, you suck. But at the end of the day, if anybody picked a fight to watch, that fight was more better than I would pay for that fight before I pay for the fucking Shaukur Stevenson Oscar Valdez fight.
I hear you, man. All right, hey, while I have Chicano Prophet on the phone, let's segue into the main event because it is getting late. And we have a historic weekend ahead. It's Cinco de Mayo. I just came from Las Vegas and I ran into so many old friends and they're wondering if I'm coming back again to see Canelo, which I don't have unlimited funds or nor tickets to see him. But Chicano, you've had the Canelo, you've used his symbol on your YouTube page. What are you thinking about this weekend, man? How good are Bivol's chances of pulling off an upset?
Well, I've always said that this is a really good fight. When Canelo was really getting into 160, I said that out of everybody between 168 and 175 pounds, Bivol would present the most problems to Canelo. I've always said that. Mm-hmm. The odds reflect that. This is the closest odds that we've seen for a Canelo fight since Kovalev, and I think it's appropriate. I didn't touch the Kovalev fight when I was in Vegas because I said it was a good fight. That's the reason I went. Let's remember that people picked Kovalev, okay? Like, that was a good fight. This is a good fight. I think that Bivol does have a good chance of doing what he does well, but, like, as far as him pulling off the upset, I would say it's unlikely, but it is possible. But if he does do it, he's going to have to stink out the joint to do so.
Because he is so... To me, I've said this before, but Bivol does everything soundly and so well that he almost makes it look dull. And there hasn't been an opponent who's pressed him to go to the next level. So here he's going to get a crash course with Canelo Alvarez, someone taking it to the next level. Does he have other gears than what we've seen, Drew? Or is Bivol just that, straight up one-dimensional? Like, he does everything pretty good or exceptionally well, but not spectacularly well to pull off, an epic upset on Saturday night.
He's not putting no upset. Bivol's getting stopped inside 10 rounds.
There's people in the chat saying the exact same thing, a stoppage in 10 rounds.
Because Bivol is easily hit. Seriously, Bivol, not like I really think Bivol is gonna get hurt in this fight.
Boxing News 24, Drew. If you read Boxing News 24, and I hate to interrupt you, they say that Bivol is the light heavyweight version of Shaukur Stevenson. That he's
who the fuck he ain't? Who the yo?
Boxing News 24.
Who wrote that article? Because I'm gonna tell you this right now, they were probably out drunk or high as shit writing that.
They said that he's the master of distance in the light heavyweight division. Chicano, is this guy's is the writer tripping? I think Chicano just dropped off, but I appreciate everybody. Make sure you watch Al Chile for reals. Boxing News 24 said that he's literally the Shaukur Stevenson of the light heavyweight division, and that Canelo Alvarez is going to find this out the hard way on Saturday night.
Oh, I don't think so, man. I think, Bivol's going to get stopped. Because I tell you this right now, I don't really think Bivol's going to be the challenge that people think he is. He got hit. Like I saw the last couple of fights. When he fought the dude in Russia, that dude was able to land hard punches on him because Bivol has fucking defensive lapses.
He does.
And the guy, like, what is it, fucking Cunningham, I think in England, that he fought in UK, same thing. He fought like a fucking phone booth fight with him. And had defensive lapses. Joe Smith, if you gave him 30 more, he was hurt,
Joe Smith would have knocked him out.
Yeah, it probably would have knocked him out. I don't know. Like, I really think, guys, play nice in chat, please.
I'm going to put 915 on the air, Drew. We got a caller from the 915.
Yeah, go ahead.
915, you're on with us with the shoe shine.
What's going on? This is D-Style. How's it going, guys?
It was going good, D-Styles. What's going on, man? What are your thoughts about this epic CInco De Mayo weekend? Bivol, the Russian light heavyweight champ, man. How do you see this fight going?
Well, look, I actually think it's going to be stylistically, it's an interesting match. I don't know how exciting it's going to be, right? But I think stylistically it's going to be interesting. I got Canelo stopping. Like, there's levels to this. Even though Canelo's fought at this weight class before, he's right below, he's at 168. Bivol, look, I know he's a 175 pounder, but I said on my show earlier, he's not exactly Kovalev in there, in my opinion. He's a guy that could make 168 if he wanted to, in my opinion.
True.
So, and I think he said that himself. So I think size-wise, Canelo's fought bigger guys, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's not so much, I'm not really, like, obviously he's a little bigger than Canelo, which matters, but I think Canelo should win. If it goes decision, I see Canelo winning an 8-4, 7-5 type fight. I do think Bivol will be ahead on the cards in the first 5 rounds. And then I think Canelo will take over in the middle rounds. His championship medal will come through. And I think he'll separate himself later on in that fight. And I think he's going to stop him. I'm picking the 10th round stoppage.
Oh, shit. Well, you and Drew are on the same page with that one. And again, like Canelo in his most recent fights, he seems to be downloading the information. He even gave Caleb Plant a little bit of wiggle room in the early rounds to establish himself. But to me, it just always seems to be a matter of time. And where I will also agree with you, D-Style, is that he's no Kovalev, where Kovalev had this long reign of stunning knockout power until he got older. And Canelo was able to catch him in that later rounds. So probably the bigger threat was Kovalev, where Bivol's not knocking out people viciously like that.
But I look at it like this. When he fought Kovalev was coming off not even a 2-month layoff from fighting Anthony Yarde and almost getting stopped.
The decline was there. The decline had already begun.
The decline was there already.
Right.
But if he would have had a whole training camp, it probably would have been a more action fight and everything. Kovalev won't probably be as cautious as he was after coming off the layoff. But at the end of the day, I don't think Bivol is going to be, this fight right here ain't going to be like, Bivol is going to give Canelo a lot of problems. I don't think Bivol gives him a lot of problems. I really think there's more guys that give Canelo problems than Bivol.
Well, shit, let me ask D-Style on that. Going off of what you're saying, does Gennady Golovkin give Canelo Alvarez more historically and even maybe does he give him more problems
Not now.
than
Not
Bivol?
now.
But the old Gennady than today's
Well, of course.
Bivol.
I don't think, if you're asking me if it's going to be as tough as those two fights, I don't think it's going to be like that, no. But I do think it's going to be competitive. I really do. I think it's a different type of fight. That Bivol's a guy that's going to be, he's not going to beat the shit out of Canelo. He's going to outpoint him, right? It's going to be, you know, kind of like a fencing match. And I think he's a good fencer. You know what I mean? Like, he could pull off rounds. He could sneak out and like some rounds there. Like maybe Canelo will land some big shots and people will give him those rounds, but then there'll be rounds where nothing really happens. These little slow rounds that not a lot happens, but he's gonna, you know, get some jabs inside and you know, stay on the move. I think he's gonna be in the pocket more than people think, but I think Canelo's gonna establish that early. I talked about that earlier, but I just think it's gonna be more competitive than I think Drew thinks. I'm not saying I don't think Canelo's gonna be in trouble, right? He was never in trouble against Plant, but it was competitive for the first 6 rounds or so against Plant. Like Plant belonged in there for a good portion of that fight until Canelo took over, right?
Yeah.
And I think this can be a little similar, but I honestly think Bivol's a better fighter than Plant. I think Bivol's a better fighter than a lot of the guys Canelo fought recently.
Oh yeah, and his amateur career proves it.
And you know what? Like, I think the Smith fight, was it perfect? Did it get rocky at times? Sure. But you know what? He still beat Smith. Some people think Smith could beat Peterbiev, right? So I think some people think Bivol could beat Peterbiev as well, actually. So has he looked that great recently? Not really. But I think Bivol does tend to fight at the level of his opposition.
That's
he has to raise his level here. And that's what I think. I did want to bring up something about the Katie Taylor-Serrano fight.
Okay.
Look, here's the issue with this fight, okay? I keep asking people for the scorecards, right? And nobody agrees on the rounds. Whether they have Taylor winning, the people that pick Taylor, like they scored it for Taylor, don't agree on the rounds. The people that pick Serrano don't agree on the rounds. And obviously, even the people that pick Serrano and Taylor, like the rounds they gave Taylor, they don't agree on that. The rounds nobody. The only round people really agree on is like round 5, because that one's like too obvious. So here's like me. I give round 1 in my opinion, round 1 was a clear Taylor round. But I'm hearing people say, I don't know how anybody could give that to Taylor. I'm hearing people saying, I don't know how you give that to Amanda. Let me tell you why I don't give it to Amanda. Amanda was throwing jabs and missing by like 4 feet. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. She was missing by 2-3 feet some of the punches she was throwing. And Katie Taylor was the accurate one. And it wasn't until the tail end of that.
I may have just lost D-Style, but he was making the point, D-Style, if you're still there, that he gave her round 1. And if you give Katie Taylor the last 4 rounds, like most people did, you still come up with a reasonable a draw, which just gives us more incentive to run this fight back. Drew, he gave her 1, you gave her 2. So the point being made is that even people who think Katie Taylor may have won have a difficult time coming up with or agreeing to the same scorecard. Very interesting. Go ahead, Drew. Oh, did I lose the audio on you too, Drew?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, I was going to wrap up the show. And D-Style, thank you for the call. Make sure you guys check in HCP tomorrow night with D-Style. We had a little bit of some audio issues, but go ahead, give your final thoughts on this.
So here's the thing about it. One, I think Caleb Plant is a better boxer than Bivol. That's why it was so competitive with him and Canelo Alvarez. Bivol is not as good as a boxer as Caleb Plant.
Really? That's controversial. That's fucking controversial because I do think
I'll tell you this right
Bivol's amateur pedigree, man. I think that's what his ultimate downfall is, man. He was a sensational amateur fighter, the European, Eastern European school of way of boxing, but that ultimately he's never fought someone in the pro ranks that's going to put him through this test on Saturday night. He's going to be unprepared.
The main reason why is because Caleb Plant really uses the whole wing.
He does. He's got good movement.
And fucking Bivol stays in front of you most of the time.
Perfect for Canelo.
You gotta. Fuck him. So at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, right there, he's more likely to take more punishment than a guy as the boxer than Plant is. It's gonna be harder to outbox Caleb Plant than it is to outbox fucking Bivol. Seriously. Like at the end of the day, man, I look at it like this: the harder puncher is Bivol, but I don't think Caleb Smith beats off of Paterno either. So if you look at it, I really see this as maybe it could be competitive, maybe 3 rounds.
Okay.
And then after that, Canelo takes over.
Most people seem to think 3-4 rounds is all Canelo needs on Saturday night to download his plan and put his plan into effect. I think the fans, because this is a pay-per-view, let's just remind everybody, whether you have DAZN or not, you're going to have to pay for this fight, or you're going to have to find a way to watch this on a streaming site illegally, but you're going to have to pay for it one way or another. This isn't free. So it's going to have to be a show. And Mexican American fight fans are used to seeing a really exciting matchup either on Mexican Independence Day or Cinco de Mayo. They demand that at Canelo, and I think he's going to come through, bro. But will you people give him the credit come Monday morning if he makes it look too easy? Man, because Bivol really is one of the top. I mean, like you said, you've got him in there. Who he's fought against, it's Beterbiev, Joe Smith, and him. So he's gonna you're gonna have to give this guy the credit come Monday if he beats him, man. How easily it happens, we're gonna wait and see. But I got Canelo winning this fight by decision, and it's very likely you guys are right that it could be a stoppage in the later rounds, man. Because Bivol has never been pressed like this, and I don't think Bivol really knows how to adapt and change up his game plan on the fly. I don't think he's gonna make the adjustments necessary. I think he'll look good for a few rounds, and just like everybody is saying, Canelo will end up victorious come Monday, and we'll see if people give him the credit he deserves, man. Well, Drew, give me your final thoughts on today's show, because I wanted to share a couple things. I was out in Las Vegas, and I'm going to give you your chance, Drew, but I want to show some stuff because I went Saturday night and this weekend to film for a friend. We're talking about women's boxing, but I have a friend who's setting up her YouTube channel, and I agreed to help her out and be her cameraman. And also help her edit the videos for her own new channel. She's a comedian and she's hilarious. And I think you guys are going to get a real kick out of a little preview I'm going to show you guys. So Drew, give me your final thoughts on this weekend and Cinco de Mayo on Thursday. I was going to play it today, guys, but I won't bore you with it. But some of you guys saw my live stream, I think on Sunday. I was live streaming from a bar, and I ended up going, Long Live Boxing was going on, and Bivol was going on, so I cut my live stream. But I've got a really fun video that I made this Sunday, and it's going to be released on Cinco de Mayo. So make sure you check that out on my channel. Make sure you're subscribed to The Shoe Shine. Drew Evo, the final thoughts.
Well, we had an event for chat tonight.
Always. Hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Give me some engagement in the chat.
Yeah, some engagement going towards me, so don't give a fuck, because one dude doesn't know shit what the LDBC is, so you don't know that, so shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's Drew's final words.
And at the end of the day, I'm gonna be like this. I just look at it like this. Hopefully, it's a good fight. Like, hopefully, we don't have to see Canelo versus Triple G3 because I don't want to see that fucking fight again.
Wow. And you know,
I'm sorry, I don't want to see it.
I was in Vegas and everybody's asking me if I'm not coming back next Saturday, if I'm going to come back to see Mexican Independence Day, Canelo versus Triple G3. I'm on the other side of the fence, bro. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight and being there in the fight capital of the world for that. It all remains to be seen, man. Everything is riding on this Saturday. Canelo's got to get past Bivol.
You know, man, I just got to ask, why the fuck is everybody getting on fucking Punch tonight?
I have no idea. Punch drunk?
Yeah,
Or
what?
Punch Millette?
What the fuck is wrong with this shit? You guys are on some fucking real shit, man. Like, damn. I feel bad for Punch now.
For real? They're busting balls too hard in the chat? You know something, Drew? It was. Let me be real. I want to give a shout out to my boy, Sin City Manny. Anybody that watches Las Vegas YouTubers will be familiar with him. He is the #1 Las Vegas YouTuber, and he's Mexican American. And this is like the second time I've hung out with him for a whole night, and I got a lot of love. The shoe shine might not get the views, but let me show you what somebody who gets 15,000 views looks like real quick. Let me show you this, guys. 15,000, almost nearly 15,000 views, and this is me and Sin City Manny reunited.
Hold on, is this shoe? Hold on, shoe shine, motherfucking shoe shine boxing. What's up, Jazz? Saludos, saludos. Carnal, I haven't seen this channel in a while, brother. I miss you, brother. About to get drunk. I haven't had. You want Modelo right now? Hold on, is this?
15,000 views. I hope and aspire, Drew, that our channel can someday, it's probably never going to happen, man, because boxing is a niche sport. But shit, 15,000 views just for one show, that would be epic, right, Drew? And believe me, when you get to that level of success, you got to have a whole team of moderators because that chat goes fucking fast, man. That chat goes fast, and there's some crazy personalities in the chat. So I think we could handle our small chat, man. When you got that many thousands of people watching you at once, there's a lot more shenanigans in the chat, man. So anyways, you're still reading that?
Ah, God, these fucking people tonight.
Don't even trip.
It's funny as shit.
Hey, this is a great weekend, guys. It's CInco De MAyo. We'll be back next Monday. And before I get off, hey, it was a great weekend for women's boxing, and I wanted to show you my homegirl. Like I said, I promised I would show this video. This is her. It's a little preview of her reality show that we're going to start filming in Vegas regularly. I'm Dave from the 408. Drew, I will see you next Monday, man. I appreciate you here as always. Make sure you check out all the great content on HCP. Tomorrow, D Styles with his rotating friends and family, whether it's G Funky, Nancy, Boxing Republic, the ladies on Wednesday nights In the Ring with Christine. Thursdays, Beeb and the Round Table, and the whole gang is there. Of course, we had our friends from Sunday, Beeb and Long Live Boxing, and Kenny, who was in the room earlier. Thank you for the support, man. I will see you guys next weekend. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Don't get too drunk. Remember, you got to go to work on Friday. Drew.
See you next week, haters.
All right, man. I'll see you guys next week, man. And anyone who's an NFL fan, this is for you guys. I hope you guys got who you wanted from the team, man. Hope you guys got who you wanted to get on your team.
We're taking off the clothes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, wait.
Jaguars.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
You're doing your best.
We are
I was going to
doing
say
our
you're
best.
probably the worst team in the NFL. How do you feel about that?
I really hope we're not the worst team next year, but here we go.
What do you consider to be the best team?
Ooh. The Bills are probably the best team.
The Bills. Ooh, Buffalo. Hey.
But no, we're going to take them down this year, I think.
Okay, have you been attending the NFL draft?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is that low-key why you're in Vegas?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you getting some pussy while you're here?
No, I'm married. Hey, I am married.
Is your wife here?
No.
Okay, so he's getting pussy, guys. Just kidding. All right, I'm here for a divorce party. What are you here for?
Here for a divorce party?
Yes.
I'm here to celebrate divorce parties.
Hey, you're going to celebrate the divorce party.
I'm the guy you see when you had a divorce party.
Oh, really? Are you going to give me a lap dance? I say, let's get one. Ready? I'm going to sit down.